In 2000, Blockbuster signed a 20-year deal to stream movies directly into American homes, and then buried it themselves in private, while 60,000 employees kept showing up to work not knowing the decision that sealed their fate had already been made. Yet the executives who killed it walked away with their packages intact. They knew streaming was coming. They had the partner. They ran the pilots. 4 cities, real customers. Real movies delivered over the internet direct to the television. It worked, and they killed it anyway. So why has no one ever told you who made that call and what they were protecting when they made it? At its peak, Blockbuster was untouchable. Over 9,000 stores across 25 countries, 84,000 employees. A billion-dollar business built on a monopoly so elegant it barely needed a strategy. You want to watch a movie at home, you come to us. No other option. The late fee, that $800 million a year revenue line the company never voluntarily disclosed, was more profitable than the rentals themselves. CEO John Antioco had stabilized a struggling chain and turned it into a cash machine. Viacom, which owned Blockbuster at the time, was satisfied. Wall Street was satisfied. The company looked like infrastructure, permanent, immovable, which is exactly why the people running it refused to move. In July 2000, Blockbuster quietly announced a partnership with Enron Broadband Services, a 20-year agreement. The plan was to stream movies on demand directly to customers' homes, no driving, no return date, no late fee. They launched pilots in 4 cities, Portland, Phoenix, Seattle, Salt Lake City. Real customers signed up. The technology proved the concept. This was 2000. Netflix was still mailing DVDs in red envelopes. The idea of streaming a movie was science fiction to most of America. Blockbuster had it first, but that's not even the part they really didn't want out. By March 2001, Blockbuster had killed the deal. The official explanation was technical, bandwidth constraints, studio licensing complications, infrastructure not ready, reasonable-sounding reasons, the kind that don't invite follow-up questions, except the pilots had worked. The bandwidth problem was Enron's to solve, and Enron had bandwidth. The real conversation happening inside Blockbuster's boardrooms was about a different number entirely, that $800 million late fee figure. The studios brought in to license content wanted a revenue cut. Enron wanted a cut. Streaming margins were going to be thin. Late fee margins were not. Antioco's team looked at both sides of that equation and chose the number they already had. They walked away from the future to protect a fee. Here is what nobody reported at the time. Enron had already booked $53 million in profits from the Blockbuster deal before Blockbuster canceled it. $53 million in revenue from a partnership that no longer existed. Revenue from movies that were never streamed. Enron executives used that phantom income as one of the accounting pillars of what became the largest corporate fraud in American history up to that point. The Blockbuster deal is in the criminal indictments. It is in the federal court documents. Enron executives went to prison in part for booking money that was supposed to come from a streaming service that Blockbuster chose not to build. Blockbuster's name is in those documents. Their signed contract is in the record. They were never charged. They were never summoned. They walked away clean from a fraud prosecution that sent their former partners' executives to federal prison. And then in 2007, Netflix launched streaming. Same concept, same technology, 6 years more mature. Blockbuster had $800 million in late fee revenue in 2000. By 2009, they were waiving those fees entirely just to keep customers from leaving, absorbing hundreds of millions in losses and accelerating toward the end. They filed for bankruptcy in 2010. The brand, the name that an entire generation associates with Friday nights and impossible choices in a candlelit aisle, sold at auction. Dish Network paid $320 million. A company once valued near $5 billion, gone for less than what Netflix was earning every quarter. 60,000 jobs, not lost to disruption. Lost to a decision made in a conference room, by people whose names are in the public record, to protect a fee that courts in multiple states later ruled was deceptive to consumers. John Antioco departed Blockbuster in 2007 after a board dispute over his compensation package. A package that, at one point, included $1.8 million in severance. He was not the only executive in the room when the Enron deal died. He was not the only one who benefited from the late fee revenue the decision protected. The board included members with direct ties to Viacom, which had its own reasons to defend physical distribution and theatrical windows. There was no single villain. There was a system of incentives that made killing the future feel like the responsible choice. No one lost their pension. No one testified about the streaming pilot. The 4 cities where Blockbuster proved video on demand worked have no record of it. The test was erased from company history so thoroughly that most people inside the streaming industry today have never heard of it. The proof of concept that could have saved 60,000 jobs is sitting in federal criminal court documents, available to anyone who looks. It still feels like a secret, which leaves one question sitting unanswered. If a company can look directly at the future, confirm it works, and choose to bury it to protect a revenue line, and face no consequences when that choice destroys tens of thousands of lives, what exactly is stopping the next boardroom from making the same call right now?